Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Alright. Yeah.
Checking details, report by runway 26 half. Yeah. X-ray.
Yes, and all members of the Alien Dalek family.
Well, that's enough, Ross. Thank you very much. We've also got David Lee, who is an absolute expert. He is a repository, an encyclopedia, so much so that we had him bound in Moroccan leather last night on these, just the way he walks, actually.
Yeah.
So good morning, David.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
And of course we have the redoubtable squadron leader, Andy Palsy, who is a practicing RAF officer, and he's got a uniform and everything, and a sword, quite what the use of a sword is.
All over the years. There's nothing wrong, it's not hindering. He just has a prior engagement. Hopes to see you next year. We're coming back next year to see how everything's going on, but he won't be coming today. So he sends his regards to all those people that know him, and he wishes you organised as well for the weekend.
Well, I'm sure one person who'll be relaxed will be Joan, who used to have a rather torrid time every weekend at this time of year, and long.
So the RAF media team did it again then, didn't they?
We always used to. Aircraft on finals, ladies and gentlemen, off to your left.
Now, listening into air traffic, this aircraft is actually going to land on the hard runway. We've seen some aircraft land on the hard, some on the grass. What influences the choice?
In many respects, it's down to the aircraft type and designation, whether it's tail wheel or nose wheel, and the fact the crosswing component it can take. Sometimes very early aircraft, 1930s, can't exactly absorb a large crosswing component. If they actually have a tail skid or a fixed tail wheel as opposed to a castering one, that again influences it. Modern aircraft can take larger and larger crosswing components. So if you've got something 10 knots gusting 15, not a problem these days.
So it's not cheaper to land on the grass then?
Well, it's messier, I'll give you that. And strange.
A new grass strip here, you know.
Yeah, well, it looks lovely.
First time it's been used.
It looks lovely.
It's been relaid and re-rolled and remown and all that stuff, and it's very nice, I'm told.
Well, it looks, as they say proverbially in Derbyshire where I'm from, flat as your hat.
And perhaps this is a good time to give a mention to the hardest working people here this weekend. It's certainly not us. All the sellers and all the stewards are doing a fine job, but it's the aircraft handlers that I think have the crucial job this weekend. They've been out there since the very beginning, they'll be out there to the very end, making sure all these aircraft are very safe whilst they're here at Kemble, taxiing them into the best possible position for viewing later on. So big up to all the aircraft handlers here at Kemble this weekend.
Absolutely, I know some of them personally have come as far away as Heathrow, and ground marshalling a 747 has nothing to wing walking a Tiger. There's a very nice Jodel 117 that we landed earlier. It's taxiing back into position, not come too far of the local resident. And another Jodel, goodness gracious, we're being infected with them, David. My February first Jodel is actually flew on a 37 horsepower engine, which is quite frightening.
Mr. MC, Echo Mike Sierra Yankee, coming from Old Sarah. but I haven't actually got confirmation of that yet. There's a little Jodel D117. The original, not quite the first of the Jodels, but very, very
Second
close.
generation, shall we say. Tigers were built everywhere. Even Morris Motors built Tiger moths. There were also Tigers built, moths I should say, not tigers, but moths built in the state I live in, Lowell, Massachusetts. The American Moth Corporation only built about 25 of them. The DH-87B, the Canadian produced version, has strange interplane struts of a round variety, as opposed to the RAF slim interplane struts.
It's cold as that cockpit, Patty.
Typical Royal Air Force theme on that Tiger. One thing that should be on there, and I don't think it's visible, no, we painted out, there should be a yellow diamond, either on the rear fuselage or top wing. Do you know why that is?
For gas detection.
Well done that man, yes. It said that it always goes off when I'm on. There was a...
In fact, that's the Queen Bee. In fact, Ross, isn't that? I think almost that's the Queen Bee that's arrived.
Yes, it is indeed. An aircraft that was built to be shot at.
Built to be shot down, actually, really. The main difference is rather than a metal fuselage.
We have and that particular aircraft is surviving. So we're very glad to see it back. The Queen Bees had, of course, the capability of being flown by the cockpit, but normally it had a Theraman Bolt radio gear, very radio control.
We restored Queen Bee, or you thought what's it called? That's called Trust ago. Yeah, well,
and there we have taxiing out those gentlemen of 920 shot out from Dragon Rapide. Pleasure flying. Let's go. I believe the airspeed indicator off to your left.
Nothing to go wrong with that type of instrumentation.
No, not at all.
Notice, Ross, that we both totally failed to mention the aircraft that landed taxi past us and then took off again. Because I believe it's a Czech aircraft, but I'm not 100% certain. But anyway, it obviously wasn't one of our visitors. Fairly certain where we are.
de Havilland engine as opposed to inverted. Very, very lovely aircraft, quite old of course, but one of our favourites.
And of course, in many respects, this was Frank Halford's masterstroke, was actually to turn the engine upside down.
Absolutely. Produced a wonderful gypsy. Of course, Ross's GS80, he meant 60, but he was closer, that's right. We all lost it to the top. Incidentally, I've just returned back from getting my book signed by Peter Amos, and ran into our founder. Peter is here today. Yes, correction, getting totally wrong. That's actually a SparkNet Arrow. SparkNet arrived from Red Hill in the hands of Richard Blaine. As I remember, I think that's the sole surviving SparkNet still in the world.
We didn't get into 2:30 this morning. They didn't get into 2:30 this morning.
Bravo, Roger, 26 ground, occupied landing from wind 2 degrees.
She said, well, thanks for the wake-up call. Basically, I got telling off. But he's knackered then. I said, sorry about that. I think she might have said, no, that's alright. You have to see that brat. She said, it's a pain in the ass.
I think we have the Dark Kitten on the ground.
Pick up the marshals who wears
The beautiful Dark Kitten restored by Alan Hartfield. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been joined in the commentary point by Peter Campbell, as I said, the founder of the Great Vintage Flying Weekend, now retired from active duty on the airfield, but glad to see him here. When we got settled in, I'll have a brief word with him.
Talking to Bravo, welcome to Bravo, Kennedy Drive. That's right, Kennedy Bravo.
I've got Peter Campbell with me now, so if I can talk to you, Peter, I'll hold the microphone down for you. If you can, how did you have the original idea of the Great Vintage Flying Weekend?
Well, that started down at Shoreham, which is my childhood where I used to be. And I'm sorry, I've had a stroke and my speech isn't very good at the moment. But it started there when we held an event for the 100th year of Shoreham Airport in 1996. And it was the late Ben Cooper, and it's interesting, the late Ben Cooper said to me how much he'd enjoyed the event. The next year we had our own event from scratch. The first one was at Salisbury at Old Sarum, and it's carried on every year since then.
I had the pleasure of flying in with who I flew with now. I flew into that event at Old Sarum. It was the first time I'd actually gone and participated in Great Vintage Flying Weekend.
Yeah.
And Mark Miller, so I'll bring to you for a second. and certainly I thought it was a wonderful event. But sadly, I didn't get involved in an active role until 2002 when we were, of course, here. So the whole ethos was to move around to different events, wasn't it?
Indeed, yes. We went to...
I think it went, yes, I believe it did. One of the, certainly one of the King's Cup air races, certainly a vague recollection.
Now that's a sad loss. The
Yes.
fact that Sparrow didn't survive. If you remember last time, we managed to... There was a time here, I think it was, we had 11 miles aircraft on the ground at once.
Was that 202?
I think it was 202. I think it was a staggering collection. Well, ladies and gentlemen, go along and listen to 88, the resident jazz band for the weekend.
Used to play the jet band, didn't I? Definitely remember seeing you in a Panama and a band show. That's your wife, was it?
Gentlemen, I have Steve Bridgewater, who's the commercial manager of Classic Flight over at Coventry. Over with you then, Steve. What do you want to tell us about the Classic Flight job?
I think just started with the hand, my hand.
Obviously, most people are going to be here
Well, of course, back in 1980, there were no radars, no sophisticated surveillance systems. There were standing controls. You got airborne, you stayed over your own lines, looking for the enemy. And the enemy can sneak in at any time, especially if that enemy was equipped with a specialised ground attack aircraft built specifically to attack your troops in the trenches.
Okay, alright.
Quickly to attack our ground troops with strafing runs to 2 Yorkers CL-1 aircraft, nicknamed the Tin Donkey. Actually built from corrugated uranium, but believe me, back in 1980, 1990, this was state of the art. It's not uncommon for such aircraft down valleys in order to approach the trenches, carry out strafing runs, perhaps even some light bombing runs. Such things happened, it was essential the supporting Allied aircraft spotted the enemy and engaged them at the earliest opportunity. Please bear in mind, the typical age of the pilots involved in such combat was 19 years old. They would arrive at the front with no more than a total of 20 hours flying time. They were not allowed to wear parachutes. It was deemed as unsporting. The pilot may be tempted to leave his aircraft, rather than stay on fight. Your aircraft caught fire, you were left with one of 2 choices, neither of which were very, very palatable. As you can see, the Yorkers aircraft has a rear-mounted machine gun and a second crew legger, so the Yorkers certainly returned fire. The fact that SE5 was on its tail did not necessarily mean the end. Both aircraft incredibly manoeuvrable at such low speeds. Dogfights were often large and very confused. Very often, fortunately, the Allied aircraft would win the day. Royal Flying Corps operated under different policies. Please also give a special wave to the 2 rear gunners. The rear gunner on the aircraft with streamers is called Hans. His opposite number is called Heinrich.
Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie along the streets. Take up our borrowed road. To you unfailing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye bring faith with us who die, we shall.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, get racing.
This is the holding. It's a provost.
My discretion, 26 hard.
Great War. Throughout history, the military commander's biggest dilemma is how to see. About to commence display. Right in front of you now, the Piston Provost. Well, at the end of the 1940s, convinced that the existing training sequence of Percival Prentice to Harvard was provided inadequate preparation for their future jet pilot careers, the Air Ministry issued an operational requirement for a new high-performance piston engine trainer. Now, speed was the prime concern, but endurance of at least 2 hours was required, and no fewer than 15 companies put forward submissions. Percival led the pack, mainly because it had privately developed a trainer that already anticipated the Royal Air Force's future requirements. In fact, this is a thing that's very much ongoing at the moment. Currently, in the Royal Air Force, we train our pilots on very conventional aircraft. We expect them to jump out of the British Aerospace Hawk, which is very much a stick-rudder aircraft, into the Typhoon, and that is proving to be a very large step for our trainee pilots, and something that is going to be addressed in the next few years. Initial order for 200 aircraft was placed with Percival back in May 1951. Indeed, it was the Central Flying School's basic training squadron at South Surrey, just a few miles down the road, the first unit to receive the trainer. Soon, the Central Flying School was using 4 provosts flown by instructors to give formation aerobatic.
If it comes along here, we start it.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? there. You're raining in the Who's it? It's your dad, is it?
You can take it back there.
Speed 6 on departure from Campbell. Holding low, very nice indeed, sir. Thank you. Rossi can't hear you. Why not? Everyone else can't either. Yes. Very interesting. So, cameras at the ready, ladies and gentlemen.
Ross, is this the one he calls Jumping Jacks?
It used to be painted as Jumping Jacks. It's actually lost the Jumping Jacks logo.
Is it? Right.
But its registration is still Juliet.
Right.
Very tasteful tiger moth dancing by. We spoke of earlier in the train scheme of all over silver with yellow bands. And they're supposed to be those anti-fin strings immediately in front of the tail fin. Peter's organisation is called Anchor 51.
That's correct, yes.
Accelerating from the left, ladies and gentlemen, Peter Teichmann in the North American Mustang. Supercritical wing, advanced aerodynamics, the centre of pressure of the wing was moved to the rear, so it became more efficient at high speeds, and enabled Berlin to be reached from bases in East Anglia.
Yes, it really transformed the Americans' daylight bombing raids, where they've been struggling and losing far too many aircraft, and with these Mustangs escorting it's only
It would appear that we've got a Tiger Moth doing a bit of crew readjustment. Somebody's sprinting around the front. Quite sure.
following the Tiger Moth out onto the runway is gorgeous dark kitten. aeroplane's had quite a hard life. It's been rebuilt on at least 3 occasions.
To my knowledge, yes.
So Arthur Ordew was telling us earlier that he'd actually recovered this aircraft from a wreck condition into fuselage in 2 pieces, I think.
Fuselage in 2 pieces and being transported on the top of a Ford Poplar. It was in a sorry state. I haven't seen a photograph of it like that, but I understand it was fairly...
It must have been.
However...
So I suppose if it hadn't been for Arthur, this aeroplane wouldn't be here today.
No, they built the Dark Kitten 1 and followed it with the Dark Kitten 2. This one is powered by a 37 horsepower JAP engine, as used in Morgan 3-wheeler, little semi-sports car things. And very attractive engine, modified for aeronautical use by installing a second magneto, so you've got some redundancy. But a shame it's only a single seater because, of course, limited Carver. No, they issued a Trader instead, which was supposed to be a Dakota replacement. Didn't, if I remember rightly.
Roger, land 26 graphs at your discretion. Wind 220 degrees, 9 knots. On time, it's fine, right? Inside out plus 1.
It'd be nice to watch the jet when it comes, I suppose.
Want to get your sticky bits on one of these aircraft. Delta Jet are volunteering to be reasonably fit.
What are we on honorary? We don't have to do
Roger, land your discretion. Wind 2.
Not possible in the back. told we wouldn't see them when we get out.
Something's weird, you don't look at where it would be class 2. I don't
Yeah, put your parachute back. You're only a small person, so this will you wouldn't want to carry the cable.
Finish it with you tomorrow and I'll take the video off it. Alright?
You're supposed to be doing some photographs unless they're pulling the ribbon. You can turn a speech or something.
It's all been rebuilt.
Thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
I'm now going to work out how the devil this comes under. Beer, everybody.
So who picked the leader?